Hi, welcome to Rajal Nair. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a case study which is relating to the cloud migration part. As we all know, migration of applications from an existing applications to the desired environment is essentially app. Right, as the transformation of the applications happening in regular intervals. So hence today I have taken a case study which is relating to the cloud migration, where the case study, what is that, is all about migrating application to the cloud environment. That's what I have taken. So in this here, I'm going to explain about, let me explain you the outlines. What is that I'm going to explain in case study? The first about, I'll be explaining about the client details, followed by the challenge, all that, what client is facing. Followed by this, what are the goals they wants to achieve. After that, what kind of solution they were expecting and what being a solution company or a provider they are providing. Now here there are two things which I have taken. So one is Jolik, who is a client, who is an appraisal services company. They are majorly one of the suppliers in reference to the field of underwriting services in UK. Normally, Jolik performs inspections and assessments and all everything on a high value residential properties in order to determine the value under an insurance policy. Because if there is any insurance policy, a person wants to get insured for their property, right? Property insurance or something like. Property valuation is important, right? So because what risk predominantly is involved in it, because there are underwriters will work for, because if you see insurance and as well as in financial industry, underwriting is important. Underwriting is a process which will evaluate the risk, what is the risk which is involved in it, and whether is it allowed for us to provide an insurance plan or provide a loan to a person, right? So this is what generally underwriting is. So underwriting is an essential process which we follow in insurance policy whenever a person has applied for an insurance or maybe his property or anything of that. At the same time, if a person wants to apply for loans, right? So any loans and all that, so whether the loan can be provided to them or not. So that risk evaluations has to be done by the underwriting services. This is all comes under underwriting part. So Jolik is something relating to that organization. Now, what challenge Jolik is facing, right? This is what you need to understand. So as they are into underwriting services, they will be doing multiple daily operations they were performing. You can see here, right? So there are different yeah, you can see here, right? So there are different daily operations they are undergoing, right? So daily underwriting operations and all everything they are performing in reference to this, right? So daily operations and all everything they are performing. In context to that, whatever Jolik employees and all everything are relying on the legacy application, because legacy application is an existing application which customers are using for a very long time to manage their daily operations. First of all, we have to understand the challenge. So what was the challenge? Challenge is to that they were using daily operations and all. Further, there are some legacy applications which they are using, but this legacy application is a web-based extranet portal. This application was that which majorly manages the interactions between the company and its customers to track the current state of the home inspections. Because to what extent inspection was done, right? So status of the inspections, right? So to know about the tracking either from the client, because for example, Jolik is providing underwriting services for different insurance companies. They are their customers. So from company to customers and all, to track the current slate of home inspections and all everything. For that, they're already using an application, a legacy application, which is a web-based extranet portal, right? That's what generally they were using it. Now here is a question: if they are using an application, why customer is facing a challenge, right? This is what generally anyone will have a common doubt. So here is a point. What is that? In order to update the portal and take advantage of new technologies. So one of the major reason why they wants to transform from legacy applications to the new application. Either it could be any of application. So they want to update the portal and take advantage of new technologies. What Jolik wanted, Jolik want to migrate legacy application to on-premise hosting application on the cloud environment. So the advantage of cloud environment is that whatever the infrastructure a customer is using and all everything will come down. Infrastructure cost, everything will come down. That's what the advantage and Jolik has identified. Hence, they wants to migrate from a legacy application to on-premise hosting services. So wherein for that they have chosen Microsoft Azure as a cloud service provider, because if you want to develop any cloud application, there must be some cloud service providers are required. Like AWS, right? So from Microsoft Azure, right? So these are the different cloud service provider. If you want to develop any application or solution for your needs or for your customer needs, either you require three kind of services in cloud. One is infrastructure service, second is platform as service, and third is software as service. Infrastructure as a service means whatever the infrastructure is required for an application to perform or to develop or to manage. So infrastructure, IaaS we call it as. Second, platform as a service. What are the different platforms required for us to develop the application? This is all comes under platform as a service. Third one is called SaaS, which is called software as a service. Whatever the software we want to use and all everything comes under SaaS, right? So these are the three services. And if you are a customer, or if you are, for example, if you are a solution provider, you want to develop a solution for one of your customer, or a customer wants to develop application for their own needs, what they have to do, if they want to develop a cloud service provider, through the cloud service provider, if they want to develop and host, where they have to choose any of the service, either they require infrastructure services, or they required any platform services or software services has to be used. Now, here is a goal which was mentioned. What was the goal here? It was mentioned the kind of Jolik goals are included for the project. Means Jolik wants someone to develop a project, but for that, there are some requirements they have given here. They mentioned some requirements. You can see over here, right? What are the goals of the project was mentioned by them? What are the different goals they wants to achieve, right? So all that they have mentioned already, right? So goal was mentioned. What are the different goals and all that? What are the goals? Goals are as follows. Application upgrading web application and as well as SQL services from Windows servers to SQL 2005. So this Windows 2003 is an existing SQL server as well as this Windows server is an existing system or a process they were using. At the same time, SQL server, right? So that is where generally the SQL server 2005 and all that, right? So this is what generally one goal which Jolik wants to achieve out of the project solution as a solution. Now, taking advantage of a cloud platform that has inbuilt DDoS protection, that is what they require. So as they're expecting, because client has an expectation of Jolik has expectation that they wants to move towards a cloud environment. So that they had a requirement like building in DDoS protection and all everything is one of the key elements generally which normally we do. The third one is about they want to reduce the cost of hosting and as well as maintenance of legacy applications in which was existed. So this is important because in any organization, if you see, one of the major challenge is operational cost, because as long as organization is controlling over the operational cost, it will become successful even financially, right? So if they don't have any control over the operational cost, then uh, it leads to some troubles, right? So because if they don't control the overhead, because profits are not something same all the time, right? Because profits can sometimes profits may be there, sometimes profits may not be. Sometimes this year they may be having a good turnover, in the next year they may not have the turnover, right? It depends on, at the end of the day, it is a business, it fluctuates. So when there is a fluctuation is happening here, this is all not something advisable to increase the operational cost. So it is always better for any organization, as long as if they are controlling the operational cost, so that their success in terms of their organization in long run will be more helpful. So this is where generally they are focusing more. Their goals is to cost of hosting and maintenance of legacy applications which is existed, which they wants to reduce, right? So reducing the cost of the cloud hosted maintenance services and all everything will become much cheaper when you are comparing to the legacy applications which is already existed they were using. This is one thing. Next, fourth point, that increasing the portability and flexibility of scalability, because this a cloud application has an advantage where it is flexible and scalable, where you can use this cloud service providing application. What is that you require is login credentials. That's it. You don't require anything else apart. So the reason these are the four basic goals which Jolik wants as a solution. Well, whatever the solution, if solution provider is developing, they want these things into account. This is what generally those goals were. So if you are a solution provider, for example, if you are a customer, let us put you this way, you need to have a clarity, right? What is that I want someone to develop on my behalf, right? What is that I required in my business? So that clarity, being a customer, you should require if you are a customer, right? So if you have a clarity, then it is more convenient and it is more easy for a solution provider to provide a solution. If customer itself is in a state of confusion, then it will be difficult, right? So Jolik has the goals. What are the goals for the project and all everything? They had an idea. Now here is a solution point. What was the solution? Qlient is itself is a solution provider. It's a software company, I can say. So they have collaborated closely with Jolik in order to tailor a solution that would be best accomplish their goals. Because Jolik is expecting some solution provider, whoever is having experience in the cloud environment, so that make sure whatever the goals they have, that has to be achieved. So Jolik has conducted a meeting with Qlient people. Qlient is a software company. In a simple words, I can say, right? Solutions company. They have met with them and they have given all the requirements to their business analyst team, people who are in the Qlient and all. So they have taken all the requirements. But make sure customer Jolik has mentioned very clear that it has to accomplish the goals what they have defined, right? So that is what it was. Now, based on the interaction they had between customer and as well as the vendor, so the processes are included as follows. What was that? Evaluating and comparing various cloud services and hosting options, ultimately selecting Microsoft Azure as the best service. So customer has an idea, but end of the day, who has to accept that? Whoever is providing solution has to accept that proposal, whether which one is the right choice for them and all that. So they have evaluated and compared different cloud service providers, hosting companies, all that options, all that. Finally, they have chosen Microsoft Azure is the best choice. Hence, they have selected that. Next, reviewing the legacy application to determine its suitability for migration from on-premises hosting to the cloud. This is also something important, right? So they have to review the legacy application first, existing process. Usually in BA terms, we call it as is. As a system, nothing but the existing application. They have to determine it. They have to see the suitability for migration from on-premises hosting to the cloud is also one of the process which was included and understood by us, by them. The third thing is that developing and following a roadmap to cloud migration. So now the customer, the vendor has decided, Qlient has decided to develop a project. So for that, they need to have a roadmap, because if you don't have a roadmap for a project to be developed, so that you don't know, right, how to move further, what are the steps to be taken, right? So that looks very confused, clumsy. So that when there is a migration towards cloud environment and all, roadmap has to be created, which they have identified to create a roadmap, etc. So this is what generally the process which was included based on the interaction we had with the customer. A solution company has identified this process. Now here is an explanation in reference to the solution part. So what was that? Quilient and Jolik were able to achieve everything that set out and accomplish as a result and benefits enjoyed by Jolik, including, because end of the day, Quilient has to make sure Jolik has to enjoy the benefits, because customer has to enjoy the benefits of the solution because they are the investors. Now, what was that including? Ability to take an advantage of the latest Azure cloud features such as mobile access, BI analytics, BI backups, and disaster recovery. Because Azure has an advantage where Azure has an advantage of different cloud services. Because Azure is a cloud service provider, as I said, they have different features. What are the features? Mobile access. So this cloud application can be accessed through mobile. At the same time, business intelligence and analytical tools, different. If you want to prepare any kind of multiple reports and all everything, this is what something required for us. This is one of the key element which is essentially important, which is required here. At the same time, they need to have a uh, feature which is relating to backup, because whatever the data was stored and all everything should have a backup. So backup is required. At the same time, disaster recovery, because if there is a loss of data, that has to be recovered. If there is any unforeseen situations where the data was lost, so there must be a provision to recover the data, right? So this is one thing which they have decided. Now, Windows and SQL Server upgrading contribute to a highly secure application that is faster and more efficient. So this is also one of the key element they have decided to develop. Now, the legacy application has becoming more scalable, allowing room for future growing during periods of the high level demand, because this is important. You have to understand. See, for example, we are the solution providers where we are providing solutions to one of our customer. What is that we have to say? It's not only about what is that they expect now. We have to predict what could be their future needs. Why? Because you have to retain your customer. So in any of the enterprise, any of the business, when it grows, you have to retain your existing customers, plus you have to get new customers, right? That's how generally business grows, any business. So what is important? It's not only about providing solutions for the present problem what customer is expecting, but at the same time there is an option it was written here, right? I have mentioned it. What was that? Allowing room means space, possibility, right? Room means that allowing room for future growth period during a high demand, means existing application should have a provision. Whatever the application or a cloud we are developing, cloud application should have a possibility to upgrade this to the next level. That sort of application we have to develop, so that because for example after 5 years or 6 years customer came again, and if you say that I want to develop the application right from the scratch, right? So which is a cost, which is very costly. At the same time they have to change their infrastructure, etc., which is not an advisable thing. So the application whatever you have developing should have a possibility to upgrade to the next level according to the future needs of the customer when the demand increases. So this is what one of the key element we are have to keep in mind, because future we have to see benefit to the customer, because it is also always not only our benefit. It's a win-win situation. If you are showing some benefit in terms of the cost, right, and all everything, if you are reducing to an extent possible, so that customer will also be happy, right? That way you can retain your customers and you can get new customers. That's how business grows, right? Support from hand in hand, right? So that is also required. This is one more point. Next, legacy application now achieves less at least 99.99% of availability, right? So this is also one more aspect. Now, last but not least, moving from on-premises to a cloud solution has led to a decreased hosting and maintenance cost. When you are providing an application from on-premises, means from on-premises to a cloud solution, what is an advantage here? The advantage is that whatever the hosting and maintenance cost will be, will come down because this is a cloud service provider. Cloud service provider is providing the services which will be in a economical cost, right? So it's a, because again, those cloud services may be public and private cloud. Let us not get into that. That's different, and that's a different explanation. That is not required. So hosting and maintenance cost and all everything will come down. This is an advantage. Next, passing the responsibility of maintenance and technical support to the Quilient freed Jolix IT team to work on their projects. So responsibility of maintenance as well as technical support should also be much easier for any customer. That's also customer see. So the solution what you are providing is not only the one, but customer will also see in what way it is being beneficial to me in terms of the operational cost, operational expenses, all that. So by keeping all this view, Jolik, who is a customer for them, solution was provided by Quilient, who is a solution provider over here. So this is what all about the case study in reference to the cloud migration part, all that. So if you have any questions, if you have any queries in regard to that, and if you have any training needs in regard to the case study related training, especially, and this is useful not only for business analyst, of course, this is meant for BA, but it's not only for BA, but people who are working on technical areas, right? So technical expertise and all. If anybody wants to understand how to read the case study, how to understand and how to provide solutions, etc., etc. So this is more important, right? So to professionally excel in our career, to move on to the next level, irrespective of the role we belongs to, it's always important for us how to read and how to understand and how to provide solutions for the customer, all that. So it's not only technical expertise, but also understanding about the situation of the customer which they were into and what kind of solutions are suitable, right? So all these things are essentially important apart from the technical knowledge, apart from other knowledges, all that, right? So other functional knowledge, all that. So this is all about the case study part. I hope you got an idea over this, right? So if you have any questions, if you have any needs, please reach out to the contact details which will be posted in below to this video. Thank you.